pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for coming to tonight's Planning Board's meetings. There's actually two meetings tonight. We're going to actually have a regular Planning Board meeting first, followed by the workshop afterwards. The appropriate agendas should be to the right of the door. The meeting notes are taken by the Secretary for the purpose of a record and minutes, so please identify yourself each time you come to the podium, and please speak into the microphone. The meeting minutes are not to be intended to be your verbatim record, but only to indicate the sum and substance of the proceedings. The meeting workshop is being recorded by our ICAT department and broadcast on Spectrum Channel 1303. The board will follow the items in the order as they appear on the agenda. Like I said, there should be two agendas over near the door. After the case has been called, the applicant and/or agent shall come to the podium to present their case. During this time, the planning board members will have the opportunity to question and comment on the case. For public hearing cases, which will only be for the items on the first meeting, the chairman will open the case for public input, in which anyone wishing to speak regarding the case will come to the podium, state your name and address, and direct their comments to the board and only to the board. Once all public input has been received, the applicant and/or agent will be given the opportunity to respond to that public input. Once all public input has been completed, the chairman will close the public input and the board will then move on to a decision. No further input is allowed after that point. Michelle, please call the first case on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First item on the agenda is case number PB 2023-10-1, request by Roman Coburn for wetland, steep slope, and floodplain environmental protection overlay district permit approvals to construct a new single-family dwelling on premises 673 Seneca Road in an R2 residential district.
Hello. I'm Ed Martin. I'm a licensed engineer with DDS. I'm here tonight representing Roman Coburn and his application before you. Mr. Coburn is not able to attend tonight due to a work conflict, but I trust the board has had opportunity to review our updated drawings and our written responses to comments received to date. You'll note that all concerns have been addressed. We did receive town engineer comments just a few moments ago, and a quick review of those doesn't reveal anything that we're not happy to address. We're confident we can work that out with the town engineer offline of this, so we would respectfully ask that you consider granting a conditional final approval tonight. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
One clarification. You said conditional or final?
A conditional final. So we're asking for final approval, but since we just got the comments, I would suggest that you make those conditioned on satisfying your town engineer.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from the board? Seeing none. Wes, would you like to walk us through the comments, please?
Now it's on. Yes, be happy to walk through some of the comments here. So, number one, right, we recognize that the plan as it's presented, we note that there are elements of the site plan that are inconsistent with the approved subdivision plan, including the building orientation and size, as well as the presence of biotension facility in place of a rain garden. And we understand that the planning board generally is amenable to these modifications. The biotension soil media, we just noted that the detail indicates 1.5 feet of modified soil planting mix, and the DEC design manual requires a minimum of 2.5 feet of planting soil to provide the treatment. Though this project doesn't require coverage under the general permit, we would ask that this area not be described as a biotension facility, as it doesn't meet the design manual requirements. At the bioretention outlet, we would recommend the addition of outlet protection or a level spreader at the under drain daylight to dissipate flow or reestablish sheet flow. And while there is still minor impact to the steep slope of the EPOD, the impact has been minimized compared to the September 2023 option, which included a retaining wall with steep slope area. Limit of disturbance and silt fence, we've got some silt fence shown outside of the limit of disturbance. Minor technical issue there. The private pump pit, the rim elevation for the private pump pit is shown at 255.75. The pump pit appears to be located between 256 and 257 contour after the proposed retaining wall was eliminated. We noted that the Seneca Road reconstruction project may get underway in late spring, early summer of 2024, and access to the site may be limited during that time. We would just ask that there be some coordination with the town on the road cut and for water service regarding the driveway connection to the road. A topsoil comment, sanitary sewer pressure lateral connection. We're just looking for verification that the saddle type connection to existing sewer is an appropriate detail for the connection. Hydrant and bollards, please indicate the location of the existing hydrant and surrounding bollards on submitted site plan drawing, and then just a signature block. Nothing really of a showstopper with this letter. They're all just technical comments that we feel could be addressed should the planning board wish to grant an approval with a condition that they address the town engineer comments.
I think you stated that you reviewed this briefly and you're okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on any of those comments? Seeing none, and if there's no questions, I think I'll open the public hearing. Do we need the podium moved over, Michelle?
No, we can just have people come up to speak at the microphone at table.
Right there?
Yep,
Okay.
if there's anyone here to speak.
I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody who would like to speak regarding this application, please come forward. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. The board doesn't have any questions. Does anybody like to move forward with a preliminary or final proposal, conditional, final?
Sure, I can go ahead and PB 2023-10-1, that the site plan be approved as submitted with the plan that we were just given. Now I'm trying to find a date on it, to be honest with you. If anybody sees one. Thank you. 11/21/23 plan as submitted to us with the condition that the letter from Labella, that all of those comments be addressed to the satisfaction of town staff.
Be 1 second.
Second.
Was Mr. Burdick?
Mr. Reed.
Oh, that was Mr. Reed. Thank you.
I snuck it in.
Board, I just want to clarify for the record, the type 2 action was determined back at the October 30th, 2023 meeting for secret purposes.
Thank you. And I want to make sure that's for preliminary or final with conditions? Or final?
Final.
Okay.
I believe we already did pull it.
We did. We did preliminary on this one. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, this passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Much success with the construction. Next case, Michelle, please.
Sure. Case number PB 2023-10-2. Request by Sycamore Green for final site plan approval to construct a plus or minus 2,500 square foot community building, updates to building facades with site-related improvements on premises 17 Strathmore Circle in an R5 residential district.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Dan Buchanan with Carmina Wood Design. I'm here to represent the applicant for this project, Sycamore Green. Since we were last here, I think we had to take a look at 4 items from our last meeting. You should have an updated set of plans that covers everything. I'll run through it real quick. we've put the bike rack back on the overall site plan as well as the enlarged plan for the community building. We've put a note on the site plan indicating the retention of the speed bumps in their existing locations. We've provided separate cut sheets for the lighting fixtures. We've also tried to clarify a little bit better the locations of the existing fixtures on that plan. We've made the symbols a little more bold. I know there was some confusion last week or 2 weeks ago. And the fourth was fencing, and you guys just got that today, this morning. What we did is we had a group go out and survey the existing conditions. They've provided the survey that you guys have with a photo of the fence and some notes for each adjacent property, working, if you're looking at the site plan, clockwise around the property starting on the southwest corner. It's indicated, some areas that need some repair. There's also a mix of fencing that's owned by the neighbors. There's some that's owned by the property. The majority of the fencing that's owned by Sycamore Green is a shorter chain link fence type construction. Anywhere that there's wood is typically what we're seeing the neighbor's own fence. We've also provided an additional plan that indicates any of the areas where it was determined that the fence is either deteriorated or broken and will be repaired. What they're asking, in a lot of these locations, that's not even our fence. We were going to offer in those locations to repair that fence for the neighbor. If it is our fence, then it will be replaced in kind. So that was noted on the plan as well. And that kind of takes care of everything that we had talked about last week. I did get the comments from Labella when I came in here. It all looks, there's nothing crazy there. We can kind of run through it. I think a lot of this is actually addressed already on the plans. And I don't know, do you want to talk more about fencing first? Should we run through some of the comments from your town engineer?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think we're missing the point of the fence. And in meeting with the residents, they were forced to put up fencing because Sycamore Green was irresponsive to their requests for security. I did spend some time out there with another resident, and I'm sorry, I'll...
What was the address of that?
The addresses I gave in the last meeting.
53 and 63 page.
Correct.
Yeah.
But there's also more residents who also complain. So the general complaint is that Sycamore Green have been in the past irresponsive to requests for security. Some of your tenants, and I'll pull up their names later. I just don't have it up right now. Are about mode, incomplete repairs inside the apartment, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a number of things that I feel uncomfortable voting on, and to glance it over to say that it is not our offense just kind of fits into the mode of being non-responsive. Right. So what I'm looking for is for Sycamore Green to guarantee, regardless of who owns the fence, that they will secure their property and, number one, respond to the corrections and repairs of the residents. So I know this may not be in the planning board's venue, but at the same time, you have residents who live there, you have neighbors who live there who constantly talk about the problem with security, the problem with crime. One lady sent me pictures of her car being shot up several months ago. So there are bigger issues, and I'm sorry, I know that this isn't all.
Yeah.
This isn't all you. This is the people that you work for. So we're looking for them to be responsive and not continue sending you out to take the arrows and bullets from us, because that's not my intent. Is not to make you feel bad. It's to make your bosses accountable for the conditions of their property.
Well, and we've talked this through a lot as far as security. We had a couple meetings with ownership and everything, and they're fully committed to doing everything they can to the site, and new lighting, security cameras. They're rebuilding the entire units. bit of it. So I know you had brought up concerns with unfinished repairs, things like that, and they're pouring millions of dollars into this property, and they're, I think, committed to making this a better place to live.
What would satisfy me if Sycamore Green says, yes, we will put up a fence on our property, so the neighbors don't have that to worry about. That would be satisfied.
So we've
That would
asked them,
satisfy
and they
me.
said they will not do that.
Okay, then I will not vote for this project.
We're just gonna try and repair everything in kind the way it is. out there.
It's beyond repair. It's right now, it's a community health problem. That's my issue.
I understand.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
I'm stuck on this,
So can I ask, since security was brought up several times by both public hearing and yourself, right? That you're doing all these improvements, a fence being one of the main things that would provide security, why are they opposed to it?
I mean, so what they've determined is there is a consistent fence around the entire property. There was only one location that it's knocked over. The fence is there. There are multiple locations where it's either really bad shape or there's a bunch of trees growing on it. There's a couple with branches that have fallen on the top of it. All those we have identified in both this, multiple page document with photos and addresses, as well as we've put it on a site plan so you have something tangible to say this is getting repaired in this location, graphically at least. So, the fence is there, and if we look at some of the addresses that were concerned the most about it, there's, at 63 page, there's a wood privacy fence, and, a foot away from it, there's a chain link fence. The chain link fence is ours. It looks like the wood fence would be theirs.
So I don't see consistency in your chain link fences. Explain to me how you see consistency. Well,
I
see
mean,
some-
at every
some have slats.
address, there is a fence.
Right, but they're not consistent.
No, they're all different throughout the property.
So how do I know that none of those wooden fences belong to you?
We don't.
So why don't I attribute them all to you and make you repair all of them or replace them all?
I mean, as far as you want us to replace their
Because you
fences.
can't tell me that they're not your fence, right?
Right.
And you want to tell me that only the metal fence is yours?
No, I'm not. We don't know which fence is.
Well, that's
there's no
what I was
determination
hearing
to
from
say.
you,
Yeah. So a lot of the cases, you can see there's a wood fence on one side. There's a metal fence right next to it. We're assuming that metal fence is ours. The wood fence is the neighbors. In a couple locations, majority of the locations, the good side is facing our property, which would indicate to us that it is the neighbor's fence. But I don't know that the town has a requirement for that.
Well, they do
in
have a
other
requirement
areas.
for that.
Yeah, but and somebody could have put this fence up.
And some of the
We
fence,
don't know where.
the good,
when.
is facing the neighbor, so is that yours?
We're assuming that's ours as well. Yep.
Okay, and this is our one chance to improve the entire property.
Right.
From where we're sitting. And I'm not so sure I'm with Mr. Evans to go that far down, but I would
Right.
like to see some sort of schedule here to replace the entire fence. The linear feet that you guys are
Yeah.
doing right now, if I start adding it up, isn't too much different than if you replace the entire thing. And I get that somebody's stuck telling you
I
what
know,
they want to
and
do.
like the logistics of, I can't go replace somebody else's fence that's there. Some of
I'm
their
not asking
fences
you to
are on.
replace somebody
So
else's
we'd have to
fence.
put something
I'm
inside
asking you
of
to
them,
put up
right?
fence on your property.
Yeah. I mean,
All right,
We've
that's
gone
where I-
down this road.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
where
I
I'm
mean,
at
we
at
had
this
the
point.
owner here last week. He's in the same boat. We've had a couple meetings about it. They went out and they did this survey. This determination is kind of where.
I understand that you're not the person making the decision, but your owner is robbing Peter to pay Paul, and then he's shortchanging Paul. So it's a simple problem to put up a fence on your property that gives the confidence that it's secure, along with the other things you're doing. A fence isn't very expensive, but it sends out a huge message to the neighborhood that you're securing your property, so that I can show you guns that have been thrown in neighbors' yards. I can show you, as soon as I find the message, vehicles that have been shot up on your property. So we're trying to improve. You made the first step. This is like maybe a tiny baby step to do. I'm not sure why you're resisting putting up a fence on your property, not a 4-foot fence, a fence that separates your property from the surrounding neighborhoods so the surrounding neighbors can feel safe, because it's been proven to be unsafe. You've had car break-ins, you had people trespassing, and there is a valid police report of an illegal gun being thrown in a neighbor's yard and being trying to retrieve. There's videotape of that. So I'm concerned, and expressing the neighborhood concern, that they'll feel better if that property is separated from the neighborhood so that those actions can't leak out in the resident area. So I'm going to be voting no on this until your owners agree to put up a fence. Regardless of who owns it, regardless of where it's at, put up a fence to separate your property from the existing neighbors.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the board?
This one's a trivial one, but
Sure.
is there a notation on any of these drawings about the masonry block being
Should be on
used?
C-104. It was previously submitted. It hasn't changed since maybe it was the meeting of the 23rd. There should be a detail for the dumpster enclosure. That was a CMU dumpster enclosure with a cap and a
And it's
gate.
C-104?
Should be C-104, I believe. Utility details, site details, I think.
And that was previously
It was
not,
previously,
not
yeah. So
part
it
of
has
this.
not changed since, whenever.
because it's also a note in
It's a note in
Labella's
here as well. That's what I noted on
comments,
my
so-
response here. So we do have it. It is CMU, split face CMU, with a double gate.
And you want to go through the other comments on,
Well, 1 second. Mr. Chairman, I want to submit I did find the police report 2023-000-40701, and it's report of, and I have pictures of the car shooting on Sycamore Green, and I'll find the other messages. And that was from one of your residents at Sycamore Circle, as well as submit the pictures when I find them of the video of the illegal weapons being thrown in people's yard, and then trespass on their properties from that small 3.5-foot, 4-foot fence onto their property. So it's a constant problem.
Understood.
any other comments regarding the fence, or can we move on to the other issues? Okay, let's move to the other issues.
Sure,
if you
I
want to
can
go
run through these really quickly. Number one, backflow prevention. The site has a private water loop that's protected by a backflow prevention device. Right now, we'll be doing a tie-in to that. And they are pulling the permit through the county water, I believe, so that should be covered in that, but we'll give a response there. Staff referral, I guess, I don't have anything to comment on that right now, but if something comes back with a result of that, then please let us know. I know that existing pump station has been an issue, but I believe the pumps were recently replaced, and a lot of maintenance was done to it, but we can check with the Public Works on that. Regarding the lighting plan, they asked to confirm whether the WP2 wall pack fixtures were intentional. Yes, they're in their existing locations. We have, however, moved them down typically in mounting height to prevent any spillover onto the adjacent properties. So we've reduced the light output, and actually we got rid of any spillover onto adjacent properties. The note regarding Our lights are a color temperature of 3,000 K as opposed to 4,000. 4,000, which would be more preferred by the planning board. The energy program we're under limits us to 3,500, so I think these fixtures, I'll have to check, but I think we could get them in 3,500 if that would be preferred, but we can't go up to 4,000, just color temperature. So
Yeah,
if
we
that's.
prefer 4,000 or less, so.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, we noted that the 4,000 K provides a little bit better color rendition when you're out in the dark versus the 3,000 K, but that's totally up
We'll
to
go
the
to-
planning board.
We'll go to 3,500.
That's
That's
fine.
the max we can go to. If that helps.
I think that.
Yeah, we'll defer to the planning board on that.
Yeah, great. I mean, that would be what we would offer, and hopefully that would be okay. Inconsistencies in the photo, I think these, I mean, we could check into this, but I know that our team was moving the lights up and down in order to get different light outputs, and they're on the spec, so there's, there's only 2 different lights that we're using, but there's 4 or 5 different versions of it on the actual schedule on the lighting plan, and I know they were speccing them with different shields and stuff on it to try and get the light output where they wanted it. But if there's a specific question, we can look into it on that, but I'll get a response for those guys. Dumpster enclosure number 4, we did talk about. Michelle, did you see that when you were?
did.
You did? Okay, thank you.
Yes, it was on that sheet.
We'll get-
104.
We'll get a response for that as well, when we respond to this. Dumpster enclosure number 5, adjacent to community structure, just asking whether or not, sanitation truck would be able to service this reasonably. I believe so, we'll double check. We tried to put it right at the end of the parking lot, or the drive aisle, same as we were doing with the other lot locations. But we'll give you guys a response on that. I think it should be okay. Fencing, we're at a point here. The signature block, should be on all the drawings. I'll double check that it's everything we wanted. Director of Planning and Zoning. But I think that should be on all the drawings. And then the revision block, we'll put a final date on this and send the whole package in, as well as an engineer stamp to cover number 9. I think that was it for the comments. So those weren't too bad.
Okay,
So what we'd be asking for is, an approval condition on satisfying the requirements of that report or response.
okay. This is a public hearing unless there's other comments for this applicant. I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak to this, please come forward. Seeing none, I'm not going to close the public hearing. I think at this point, I'm going to hold until I get a feel for where the board's going with this. So I'm going to hold on closing the public hearing at this time. Having said that, board discussion, where do you think we are with this? I know where Mr. Evans is.
I'd like to ask Mr. Evans a question. What kind of fence would make you happy if they were to agree to replace a fence?
A privacy fence separating along what would be the west and the north side of the property. Whatever the material, except for a chain link, would be beneficial.
So I'm sorry, just so I'm clear.
Because you can scale a chain link fence easily. So the neighbors are asking to separate.
So something other than chain link, sorry.
Other
I just
than
wanted to clear
chain
up.
link.
Okay, all right. Okay, thanks.
And how tall are you looking?
From looking at the properties to where the properties are and then walking the whole perimeter, I think we have to go with the 6-foot fence. Something greater than 4 foot, because you can just walk over a 4-foot fence. It
Is
won't
6
provide.
foot allowed there, Michelle?
So I was just pulling up the code. So 235-69 fencing, under letter I reads non-residential use on property, fencing to be located on a property use for other than single-family or two-family residents shall be subject to site plan approval by the planning board. Exceptions for repair or replacement of existing conforming fencing may be made by the director and/or his or her designee. So it's basically site plan approval.
Yeah, a 4-foot fence won't do any good to protect the neighbors. A 6-foot fence, so I think would do that as the gradients change throughout the properties and provide the privacy that the residents are looking for.
Got it.
If this was 1 or 2 properties, I would be voting for this as not important, but you're actually looking at a number of residents all on Necklace Street and the other street.
Got it. Mr. Reed, you were going someplace there, or I don't want to cut you off.
I'm just trying to understand what my fellow board members, requests are. I am appreciative of the fencing packet that the applicant put together. I think it's pretty helpful. I think there are quite a few sections that are in pretty good shape and/or have fencing that is already 6 foot or greater. The thing that I think that's so hard for me right now is understanding where those are exactly, and which ones are in the applicant's control to repair. Because I think, as the applicant stated, as far as I know, they're not allowed to go on someone else's property and fix someone else's fence. So, with their approval, they could, but that brings a whole nother issue. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around where we have a problem and where we don't. Still, at the moment.
Understood. Mr. Richards?
I'm at the same place. I think that we need a better explanation of where the fencing is that you guys are actually going to, the photos are great that you can show me where the damage is, but I would like a schedule to see when and how you're going to be fixing.
So we weren't fixing anything that was in what we determined on those photos to be good condition. What we were proposing is as far as the schedule, is we're gonna wholesale replace or repair in the locations that are on that site
But
plan.
here's the part that's confusing to me, right? You're going to put in a fence,
Right.
but what are you putting in?
Well, we've, on the,
In
what we're
places
proposing
where you
is a
have to,
5-foot chain link fence. That's what we were proposing.
and how would I know that?
It's on I believe it's on the plans. I'll take a look. I think it's on the upper right-hand corner as far as the note for the, top right-hand corner of the sheet. I think it's just a note. What we could do is we could do a 6-foot privacy fence in those locations, contingent on that fence being our own. We're not gonna take down somebody else's wooden privacy fence, but I know especially like that northeast corner, where we have the horizontal slat fence, it looks like that's ours. It's on our property. We're showing replacement of that fence. So instead of putting up a 5-foot chain link fence there, we would put up a 6-foot privacy fence.
Yeah, I guess I'm not asking you to put any fence onto a neighbor's property. What I'm asking is for you to put it on your property.
Do the whole property with a new fence.
But, so the places where it's hash marked, is that where you're telling me?
That's where we're gonna put a new
that
fence.
Do you know how many linear feet that is?
I can measure it. It's about a quarter of what we have is overall.
And that's all going to be replaced with,
It was gonna be replaced with a 5-foot chain link fence.
okay.
And I guess that's where I'm having a hard time, is there's a lot of different fences, and it makes sense because there's a lot of different properties here, right? We got a lot of neighbors. And that's where I'm struggling to understand is, the pictures are great. They don't tell me height. I can guess height based on looking at them, but they don't tell me height. But there are numerous sections where you have an existing 4-foot chain link fence, it appears.
Yep.
And then the neighbors have an existing privacy fence, typically wood, in various stages of repair and disrepair. But the hard thing for me is, getting this information relatively recently, going through and trying to write on the plan exactly where each one of these addresses crosses. and not knowing, you know, a lot of the fence appears to be on your property in areas, right? If I look at, you know, along page 77 page, 71 page, 63 page, you know, at least your site plan is graphically showing me that there's a fence line on your property.
Yep, and I think that should
but
be
it's-
indicated that we're replacing all that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just picking that as an example, but there's other spots where there's also a fence shown on a neighbor's property and a fence on your property. So I'm really struggling to, I guess, nail down what's where. And because there's such a documented safety concern here, you know, that's where I'm just trying to find, I don't think you need to replace all your fence. I don't think, looking at this survey and these pictures, I don't think that's necessary. But there may be little areas that need to be closed off because there's right, the neighbor has a fence and you have a 4-foot chain link fence. The existing neighbor's fence appears to be 6 feet in a lot of locations, again, just graphically looking at photos. But now there's a chaseway between the two, right? So somebody can hop one, be in between the chain link and a privacy fence that is not really owned by your property. And then at some point that probably terminates, and does it connect, does it not? I don't know.
I believe they're all connected. We asked the surveyor to find any gaps or anything and note them.
Right, but they don't even
nothing
show,
there.
the survey doesn't, your plan doesn't really show fencing on other properties other than, I think, 2 sites.
Our
that
survey,
I saw.
yeah, we don't have it.
So, like this chaseway, if a 4-foot fence has become a problem, then we've created a, you know, again, graphically, there's spots where it looks like there's potentially a foot or 2 or 3 in between the chain link fence and the neighbor's privacy fence.
Yeah.
So we've created an alleyway, if you will. And I don't know how those terminate on
Right.
the extremities.
Right.
You know, that property may be surrounded, but then they might be able to walk down in between and go right into a neighbor's property. I don't know how to close that stuff off based on this information. And I think in some regards it works to your benefit because I think some of these fences are in fine enough shape that they actually provide security in a lot of these spots.
Yeah, some of them are met up to, like, you could see they put a fence right up to ours, you know, and then they put
Right.
theirs up. So.
But I just, we can't really tell that from
And
the
I
plan.
can't,
That's
I can't
the
determine
problem.
whose fence is, like, as you know, we can't go out there and say, is this fence ours or theirs? Because there's no documentation of who put it up and when it was put up. There are some that.
But you
they
can
have
talk to the
fences.
neighbors.
Yeah, but yes and no, because you could have a specific survey done of the fencing to determine if it's on your property or not.
Yeah,
And then we can be 95% certain whose fence it is. And that's, I guess that's what I'm kind of having a hard time with understanding. And you could ask your surveyor to document, please get the neighbor's fence as well, so that we can see how it terminates and connects and doesn't. So that's
so this, yeah, the existing.
trying to
survey-
help here.
I know, the existing survey, I think, has both the fences shown on it if you look closely enough. But we did have our surveyor on one of our calls and asked him, you know, should we go resurvey this? And he said, how do I know which fence is which? I'm like, all right, great.
Then you
so-
talk to your neighbors. That they said that, so,
Yeah.
so everything comes down to you, not you personally, but the owners of Strathmore Circle not being responsive to the community. So that statement right there says that you're not being a good neighbor by not communicating to your existing neighbors. If your surveyor is out there, there's nothing wrong with knocking on these doors and talking to the neighbors and gathering the information. That's where a good relationship starts at. And it's not you personally, it's your owners who need to make that determination so that they can provide the security the neighborhood is looking for.
So we haven't gotten to this side yet, so I'll chime in. So first off, very excited for the project. All the improvements that you're going to do I think are fantastic for, obviously, a property that we heard in public comment needs it.
Thank you. Yeah, we agree. We're really
But I do
excited.
think, after you heard these comments about the fence, what you brought isn't enough. And we need something more to be able to feel comfortable to address those security concerns. And when I mention consistency, even in your chain link, you know, some of them are slatted, some of them aren't. They seem to be different sizes, but you can't tell from the pictures, right? So I think that's what's missing in all of this. But I do want to commend you for all the other work. I don't want to, you know, misrepresent that. We all think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
We're just trying to make this a complete as it comes forward. Mr. Burdick, do you have anything to add?
I was going to start with that. I think this project's going to be great. I think the upgrades to the security you've proposed, the entryways to the buildings, the new lighting, it's all a great asset. Where I'm at is we were asked for a fence survey. We were given one. You're proposing to repair in like. Unfortunately, in like is very arbitrary at this point because some are 3, some are 4, some are 6, some are privacy, some aren't. If we were to have a detail directed to just exactly what we are going with in like and how that matches up with what's existing, I think we're real close. I think we're very close in it, and I'm happy to approve this
So let me ask,
because it is going to be a great project.
instead of being, in kind, if we have identified the areas that, let's just, for discussion, let's say we've identified the areas where this fence needs to be repaired. Instead of saying we're going to repair it in kind, we stay consistent with anything that we're replacing now, we're going to replace with a 6-foot privacy fence on our property. At the termination of that, if there's a weird scenario, we need to tie it back into something. We can't be leaving gaps in it. But rather than saying we're going to replace it in kind, we stick with a consistent fence design. So as time progresses and more fence needs to be repaired, it can all be consistent. That might be a better approach. I think at this time, it's not possible for us to do the whole property. And we've looked at that. We've looked at doing even just one side of the property. We got some prices from our contractor, and it's not going to be feasible. We can't do it. So in just thinking about logistics and how to do this fence, taking down what's on our property, if it's on our property, we could take it down, we could put a new fence up, especially if it's something that's a nice 6-foot tall privacy fence. And we'll keep it consistent that way. And then as we move forward, it can be replaced as needed with that style fence. And maybe that's a better option. We could add that detail to the drawing to say, here's what we're going to do in these, here are the locations that have been determined that are in bad condition. That helps.
Is there any possibility, and I'm throwing out a Hail Mary,
Open to
right?
anything. Yeah.
Is there any possibility that maybe with some further definition of the areas in between where you're proposing to replace, that the owner would agree to some sort of schedule moving forward to replace sections annually or something? If we have sections that are in good shape in areas, and maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a few areas that we make a little bit bigger just because of where they terminate or something today.
Right.
But to then be able to say, hey, if this adjacent section is in really good shape and it's causing economic hardship right now, then perhaps we can get on a schedule that, every year, I don't know how we would even logistically do this with town staff. That'd be a whole nother question.
Yeah,
But first thing is just, would the applicant even possibly entertain this, where we could say that over the next 3 years, we were going to try to do something? I don't know. I'm just throwing out a Hail Mary.
I also want to, one section, 96 vinyl, what you have on here is heavily damaged.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at that.
It's not on the plan to have it replaced or repaired.
On 96 vinyl, it should be.
That's great if it should be, but it's not. You know what I mean? If I'm looking at the last page of this, and I look up 96 vinyl,
No, I see that in our survey. So if it's not on the drawing, then
so I'm not, my only problem here is, I think the plan is good. I agree with other folks, and that we've enjoyed looking at this plan. I think we've gotten to one point here, though, that's sticking, and that's this fencing stuff,
yeah, it is not shown on there.
right? So without that, so if I approve this now, and you're telling me 96 needs to get replaced according to the photo, but it's not in on the sheet, then where do I stand?
So,
What would you do?
well, I think 96 is a good candidate. Right now, it looks like that is their fence. And that could be the determination as to
But
why.
we're not repairing their fence, right?
We can't repair their fence, so we would have to put something up in in
Right,
front of it.
but you can
right?
see where
This is
now
where,
nothing's
yeah, this
being
is where, it's-
consistent.
I know, and this is where I'm getting pushback too. So,
Yeah.
Because some of the damage to their fence was caused by your residents.
well, we
That-
can't,
that's,
I mean,
that's the problem. There's video showing your residents are coming across,
at
causing the
96
damage.
vinyl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Oh.
no, I'm not saying 96 vinyl, but for other locations, there's security video of showing your residents causing damage to their property, and that's what I'm saying. So it's not just the fence's damage; it's coming from your residents trespassing on their property.
And I know John hasn't gotten a chance to speak, so I'll shut up.
John, would you like to add anything?
I think I'm in agreement, with everything that's been said so far. After reviewing the photos, the one thing that caught my eye was the chain link fence on the Page Avenue properties. We have a
green.
parking lot just south of that, so you have headlights and whatnot there. So if we were going to add solid fencing in areas, I think at least for B, that would be one area where I think we should include. I agree with Mr. Reed where, I don't think we need to do all the fencing on the property, but, the areas that could use some TLC, I think we should try to. And then, kind of echoing Mr. Reed's comment about a schedule, what's the overall timeline for the project?
It'll be about a 12-month project, start to finish, through all the phases. I mean, we're only looking at exterior improvements at the planning board here, but there's also another phase of the project, the phase one, which is the renovation of all the apartments' interiors. So, depending on start time, hopefully starting in February or March, and then finishing before the end of the year is their goal, but it'll probably push into the next year. And it's all based on the way they get funding for these projects, which brings me to Mr. Reed's option of saying, how do we schedule out future? It's just a little weird with the way these things get funded. Obviously, they have a continuing maintenance budget to keep this project under control as they move forward. I know they just switched property management companies because there's been some concern. So they hired a new property management company a couple of weeks ago. That's starting up right now. So hopefully that helps with some of the tenants and not being able to get hold of people. I know someone had quit there in management. So, I think they're conscious of what's happening here and they're trying to make it better, but so much.
Just thinking aloud here in terms of like a timeline, and this might be a question for staff, could the fence be, run concurrently with the building permit approval? So at the time of certificate of compliance or occupancy for any of the work, the fence needs to be installed by then. That at least gives them a year plus, in terms of financing and whatnot. Just thinking aloud here.
It's a good option.
I'm willing to work with this schedule. I'm not willing to say it's not our fence, it's not our problem.
Mr. Evans, I just want to be on record. We're not saying that it's not our fence, not our problem. We want to fix this up. We want to make it look nice. We want to fix the lighting. All the lights are off right now. Nothing works. We're adding security cameras. We're trying to move garbages away from, the adjacent properties. We are very concerned with how the rest of the community looks on this property. So,
I think one of the alternatives that you might have as a planning board, if you're amenable to seeing a schedule with the fencing, is it sounds like if they're willing to identify on a site plan the location of where this 6-foot privacy fence is going to be installed, including a schedule on that site plan of, here's going to be our first go around with putting up, the most urgent areas of where we want to see this updated fence. And then, the following year, we're going to do these particular areas. Maybe a schedule of about 3 years, maybe it's 4 years. Identify that on the site plan so that as part of that approved site plan, the town staff has something to go by and check on. And if for some reason they're not in compliance with the site plan, they would get cited, right? As in, non-compliance with the site plan that may result in a fine for the property owner. So I think it's possible and feasible. I don't know that I have all of those particulars spelled out tonight for a potential approval. It's something I would want to run by the town attorney. And also, I would expect, I would probably want to see an updated site plan. I know you've got one that shows the proposed locations of where the fence would go today, but we'd want to see
You're phasing
the entirety. Yeah, exactly. Yep, your phasing
with
plan.
the end goal, ultimately.
Yes,
completely replace
I think that would be helpful. Yep.
I think it would also be helpful, thank you for that comment, Wes. I think it would also be helpful to show on the plan, like a dimension string for the extents
Yeah, like
of
foot
each
footage.
one of those sections, right? If it said that this was an existing 4-foot high chain link fence from here to here, and then it went to a 6-foot high privacy fence from here to here, so that we could sort of see, because I think John's comment was really a good comment, talking about parking lots and chain link fence and adjacencies and so on. And, it's something that I hadn't even really considered, but I think that's a really smart comment. And we may prioritize a section or look for a prioritization of a section based on some of those things as well. So if we could see on the plan where exactly those things fell, and clearly you have it pretty much from your survey report, which again, I think is helpful, but I think seeing that on the plan so that we can look at the plan and have one drawing that then hopefully shows where the new stuff's going, what's existing, and we kind of know what the plan is for phasing, I think would be, right on the way to getting this thing approved.
Yeah, thank you for that suggestion. I think that would probably do it for me. How does the rest of the board?
So,
Yeah,
Agreed.
I agree with that. I think that we need to get a little better handle on and make sure it's consistent. I like Spencer's comment on the section and how many feet it's going to cover.
so what we're getting at is full replacement, just a phased plan.
I'm not necessarily personally, I'm one person. I'm not saying that, because I'm saying especially if I could see, in site plan view where each one of these different sections of fence were, I think it would be a lot easier to look at that and say, oh, we already have a 6-foot fence here. Maybe it's on the neighbor's property, but we already have a 6-foot fence here. Let's make sure we tie our fence into it adjacent. And as long as it's in good shape, I think the security issues are taken care of, and you don't have to, maybe there's a 4-foot fence on your property there, maybe there isn't, but I don't know that there necessarily needs to be if we have continuity, in between those fences.
The only disadvantage I'll tell you that I see to that is they don't control that fence.
Right.
And should it go down, it's up to the neighbor to repair it.
Right.
And they have no control over it. So then we're left with the gaping hole that we're trying to avoid right now.
I agree with you, Mr. Richards. That's what I was concerned about, but I do think it's a compromise I could possibly move
Yeah, I mean,
forward with while they're getting their funding straightened out.
Yeah, I am sympathetic to the cost of this,
Right, I am
Hey.
too.
I'm not saying it would make any difference necessarily, but, sometimes knowing those economic
Yeah.
situations does help the board understand the reality of things, right? Because I think Mr. Richards made a point earlier that, if you're already replacing, 25, 35, 45% of the fence or whatever, what is the economic hardship
So it's
to replace the other 50% or 60% or whatever it
It's
is?
about 2,600 linear feet, and the price was big. So I will bring this back to them. I've done it already.
We're aware.
We'll add a little detail to this. I'm not sure it's going to change. We'll do our best. We got to think of a way to make this to be a little creative here. I think in how do we get to something that we're good with.
With security being the number one thing that you're looking at there.
Yeah, it sounds like privacy more than security now is what we're getting at.
Oh, I think both.
On the security.
Security.
I think the privacy was a good ad, don't get me wrong.
I think we can address security with more cameras, a plan for cameras, if that helps, in lieu of the fencing, if security is the concern.
Yep, but when I trespass on your property, a camera's not gonna stop me. A fence will. And I think that's what the neighbors are trying to convey.
It's a great project. We want to see it go forward, so.
And I do want to see this through. You know, we're at 99.5% solution. So to really haggle over replacing a fence or building a fence, to me, is not the most wise thing the owners could do.
So do you want to table this and come back after you talk to him again?
We don't want to vote, right?
Well, we're going to do something here. I think
We have to.
we're lacking information from the applicant at this point that would not allow us to make a good decision.
Right.
So we can either vote it anyway or just adjourn the case for 1 week if that's enough time for you.
Is that enough
No,
time for you?
No, we're gonna need, I mean, if we need to do a survey to get our surveyor back out there, a couple of months, I mean, this is what he told us before. We had a private company go take these photos for us. So, I'm gonna have to get with them, and we'll probably have to take a different route, I think. So we'll see.
Okay, I'm sorry, did the board want to move on anything tonight? Or I would prefer to wait and see what they come back
I would
with.
request to
Yeah.
table it
Yeah,
at this
table it.
point.
Thank you.
I'd rather not get a vote down yet.
Great.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, on PB 2023-10-2, at the request of the applicant, we adjourn the case.
Table. the
Table.
case.
Adjourn,
Do I have a
table.
second, please?
Same one.
Second.
All right, thanks, guys.
All
Thanks.
those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstain, and we still have one vacant. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I missed who seconded that.
That was Mr. Evans.
Oh, thank you.
Ready for the next case, Michelle?
Thank you. Next is a town board referral request by McMahon LaRue Associates, acting as agent for Gregory Carver, for rezoning approval to rezone a portion of 1700 Hudson Avenue from R4 residential to C business district.
Can I just ask when the last time we rezoned this property? Does the applicant know?
I'm not aware of the last rezone.
Please state your name and address, please, for the record.
Good evening, my name is Brian White. I'm a licensed land surveyor from McMahon LaRue Associates. I am here tonight on behalf of the applicant and owner of property located at 1700 Hudson Avenue. The applicant, well, I should say the application was previously heard by the town board on November 21st for rezoning. We are here tonight proposing two components, primarily a re-subdivision of property at 1700 Hudson Avenue. The parcel located in the southwest, do you all have this map in front of you?
I don't have that one, I have this. You guys have the full map? That's in the next packet. Now we do.
So we're proposing transfer of property from 1700 Hudson Avenue to the Plaza parcel located at 720 Ridge Road. The parcel to be conveyed comprises of 0.82 acres with the intent of developing that area for parking pending potential rezoning. I just want to clarify that we're here tonight looking for a positive recommendation to the town board pertaining to rezoning with the intent that any proposed development would come back to the planning board for site plan approval. The parcel to be conveyed is currently R4 residential zoning, and we're looking to rezone that to C business. In addition to this application, we had prepared a letter of intent from the purchaser stating that they intend to use that conveyed property for parking for the plaza parcel. I did have an opportunity to follow up with the prospective purchaser of that parcel and asking some general questions that I'd like to state. Primarily, that they're proposing to develop parking in that area. They currently have 4 vacancies in the plaza, and they're looking to fill those. They have had several prospective occupants look at this space, but ultimately passed on it with concerns for parking. Ideally, the plaza parcel would like to prepare a site plan for 50 spaces. Certainly, we haven't gone into the site planning process yet, but that's something that we would certainly be considering down the road if we get positive feedback from the board. There were a few other concerns addressed by the town board pertaining to some of the stormwater management. Again, that would be addressed when we come in for site plan approval.
I did want to mention to the board that this parcel is split zoned, just in case you didn't know. The front portion that fronts on Hudson Avenue is on manufacturing, and the specific parcel that Mr. White's talking about is zoned R4 residential. If it were to be rezoned by the town board, it would be commercial, which I believe I included a map in your packets showing the commercial properties all around that area.
There's also a key map on the top right corner of the proposed subdivision plan.
Okay.
So I have a question for staff. Did we rely on any of this property for parking for the apartments when we approved those?
Can you say that one more time, please?
Sure. I assume we're talking about the parking lot, right?
Correct.
Did we
Existing?
approve the apartments that were constructed, and that would have been part of their parking requirement needs?
No, this is in the back. I don't believe that this has been developed. Is that what you're?
So it's this area.
It's, the area to be conveyed is undeveloped.
Okay.
It's a grass
All right,
area.
I got my answer. I appreciate it. And it does not include asphalt area.
Correct.
All right.
And if you recall back, I believe it was, I'm just pulling up the previous approvals. It was subdivided. They subdivided the parcel into 2 separate parcels, Lot 1 and Lot 2. So if you're looking at 1700, there's a line right down the middle
Yeah,
where it's 1710.
like where the dentist and the daycare
To the
is,
no-
and then the apartments
Correct.
are across the,
Correct.
all right.
And that was back in 2021, that,
So whatever we're calling this, either 1700 Hudson is actually just a vacant land at this undeveloped vacant land, right?
A portion of 1700 is vacant land, yes. And that would be on the conveyance map, it would be directly to the east or from your perspective to the right of the existing plaza building. And it has area of parcel to be conveyed, 0.82 acres. It's a rectangular piece of property.
There's nothing out
That's correct, yes.
I may have missed this. What is the additional parking used for?
It's going to be used as an accessory to the plaza parcel for employee parking. I have a letter which I'd be happy to share with the board. Prospective purchaser, who is the owner of the plaza, addressing their concerns for inadequate parking. They've had several potential tenants look at the 4 vacant spaces in that building, and ultimately did not proceed due to their concern for lack of parking spaces.
So which plaza is it going to be accommodating parking for?
It's going to be the one at 720 Ridge Road, just at the, you know where the Walgreens is? It's
So
gonna be
what we would call Ridge Hudson Plaza.
correct.
All right. And that doesn't meet the minimum parking requirements already? I mean, the only thing I'm questioning is putting more asphalt down, to put more asphalt down for more cars. When I can drive by that lot a lot of times and I don't see it so full that I couldn't find a spot.
There is vacancy in there.
I do
Yeah,
have-
I understand that, but
I thought the same thing, but then.
at other times it has been full and I've never lacked for parking there.
I do have some of the zoning criteria on the left corner of the site, or I should say, proposed subdivision. Certainly, right now, the impervious area is near 100%. That coverage component would certainly be addressed in the site planning process. But, you know, per my email from the purchaser who owns the plaza, they have been unsuccessful at obtaining some of those potential tenants due to the lack of parking.
But the parking's only gonna be for employees, because there's no entrances. for
Right, these are all employee entrances at the back of this currently.
Correct, yeah, their intent would be use that area for employee parking, yes.
How many spaces would they get in?
I can't speak to the amount of spaces this time. Their target would be 50 spaces, but that would also be addressed during the site planning process.
And that would also include lighting then?
Certainly, yeah, we would come back before the planning board for site plan approval, independent of the rezoning.
Wow.
Does seem like a lot of parking.
Well, it's gonna be a lot of lighting too.
I mean, to me, if we're talking about looking at land conveyance and you know, referral on subdivision, get our bite at the apple on what they're doing as far as parking, lighting, landscaping, stormwater, yada, 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 when it comes back. I mean, I don't really have a problem with them conveying land. You know, I'm one person, but I don't really have a problem with conveying land. When they come back, we may have some fights for them, but, you know, I don't see an issue with it.
But I think we could say something to that effect, but then our concerns would be, if they're gonna develop this, the additional parking, the additional impervious surface, the additional lighting would be a
What-
concern, so.
What would be their,
Surprise to them when they come back, then.
Sure, yeah, I mean, that could be part of a referral, sure, absolutely.
can I just ask what would be of right for them to build there?
Are you talking with the commercial district?
Yep.
So Labella, we did have a handout that probably arrived on your desk today, dated December 8th. So one of the attachments to this letter dated December 8th includes, in the commercial district, the permitted uses and special use, permitted uses with a special use permit. So you can see those in section 235-27 of the code in the attachment, and 235-28.
And these would be of right?
Well, under section 235-27, yes, permitted uses as of right, correct.
So they wouldn't necessarily have to come here?
Unless it was, well, maybe for site plan review.
Well, yeah, it would 100% come here if they were building something, because we have to review the site plan. It just
Right.
means we can't stop the use.
Right.
Right.
These would be allowable uses, but it would still have to come in for full site plan approval.
That was also my interpretation of the code as well.
So
So you have this drawing as well, the red outline of the new subdivision.
I'm familiar with it, yes.
Who owns the lot right here that's outside of this red line that currently has all these empty spots not being utilized? Is that not the Plaza's property? Because it doesn't attach to the upper lot. It's a major grade difference.
Yep, so I have on this plan here,
Yep.
ownership. I can refer based off property address or tax parcel. But the one, there's two parcels directly south of the property to be conveyed.
Correct?
We'll start with the westerly one first. That's owned by Mike Hassan.
So that's just a parking lot.
A portion of it, yes.
It looks like the
That
entire
would not
thing.
be on our subject property. Additional property to the south of the property to be conveyed on the easterly half is owned by PPF Ridge Road LLC.
Mike Hassan is the owner of 720 though, correct?
Under a separate name, yeah, it's Hassan Ridge Realty. So
Right.
there's
So
probably
it's-
a legal connection between
Yeah.
them.
So there's already approximately 40 spots that are striped in that opening right now, not being utilized for anything. Under the same ownership. And you can see it on the street view. It would just become an extension to this transformed area.
How many employees the four businesses are expected to have? 100 employees?
I don't have that information at this time. It's certainly something that I can inquire about. The only information that I was provided was that it was the plaza owner's interpretation that they had lost some potential tenants due to lack of parking. Their objective would be to have the employees park in the rear of the building so that the face of the building would be for potential customers.
Is a parking lot a permitted use in this district then? I don't see it listed on the
Well,
sheet here.
the way it's proposed, their boundary line adjustment, really, they're not going to be creating a brand-new parcel. So it's going to be part of the existing plaza that's there. So it's simply an expansion of a parking field or pavement that they've got on that parcel.
So they're asking to have the lines drawn together then also?
Do you mean boundary line adjustment?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're not creating a new parcel at all. It's not going to be a separate parcel on its own. So the primary use of this potential expansion is still going to be that plaza.
Okay, so my
Commercial
question
use.
still is valid. Can it be approved for a parking lot?
Yeah, they basically they're seeking to expand their parking lot as it is today, even though right now it's not not legally theirs until they do a boundary line adjustment. So yes, they can do a parking lot here.
Okay, because the only reference to parking lot is for monetary gain. I would assume that providing your employees a parking space is for monetary gain.
Yeah, that's one way to think about it, but if
And
they
that
were
would-
if they
that
were to
would
do
be a
this,
special permit.
if they were, I'm sorry. Ask again.
The monetary gain, I believe, is that they are charging for parking, Mr. Richards. So I don't think that would be applicable.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as a economic development, economic.
Yeah, I don't think that's the definition
Monetary
of monetary gain parking lot.
Yeah.
That's a surface lot that you're charged to let people park in.
So to go back to Nate's point, though, there's no chance of us using what is already existing?
There.
And I know that's not what you're asking us to consider.
Yeah, I mean, my whole comment on this whole thing is I think we're cart before the horse. I mean, the applicant told us what the presumed use of this is. But that's really not what we're here to discuss, in my opinion, tonight. We're here to discuss whether this conveyance of land from a zoning standpoint causes any issue from the planning board standpoint. And for me, since it's still contiguous to other C business area, and this is a relatively highly developed area, even if this were turned into some sort of building or parking lot, it doesn't directly abut any current residential homes. I know it abuts residential district. So I personally would not have any problem with it. I do like our chairman's comment about, you know, if we were to make a referral, putting in some of the things that we have concerns about, because as the applicant also stated, this lot is almost 100% impervious today. So, you know, while I personally would be okay with a positive referral on this land transfer, or a rezone rather, I would certainly want to put in comments that the planning board, or at least, you know, from my standpoint, has concerns about, you know, the need for parking if that's what's desired, the potential issue with the lot already being almost completely impervious with no green space, stormwater concerns. That would all be things that would need to be addressed specifically at planning board, to put that in there so that they're aware, because, you know, they may not get 50 spots on here because we might want 50% of this to stay green as a
Right.
buffer to residential. I don't know, because I haven't seen anything, so I don't know what.
So, I think you're on to it, Mr. Reed. Is there any other questions for the representative?
Real quick here, if you want, I've got a draft resolution prepared. If you want to consider that, I'll hand that out to you guys, and you can take a quick look.
I would love to see our town engineer's draft, and then I would be willing to read that to you, Mr. Chairman, potentially, if I agree to it.
Sorry, I didn't have my mic on. So, okay. So if you guys are okay, I'm just going to read it out loud, and then we'll go from there. That work for you guys?
Yep.
Okay. So, resolution states for the recommendation to the town board, application to rezone 1700 Hudson Avenue. Whereas the Arundecoit Town Board has received an application to rezone the property located at 1700 Hudson Avenue from R4 Residential to C Business District. The application, which was submitted by Lipsitz Green Skyme Cambria LLP, the applicant. And whereas the resolution,
I don't have the number for the resolution yet, but I presume it was adopted by the town board on November 23rd?
so the resolution number XXX for the moment, adopted by the town board on November 23rd, you said?
Yes.
2023, the town board resolved that the application for rezoning be referred to the planning board for its recommendation, and whereas the planning board has reviewed the proposed action as well as the supporting information submitted by the applicant, and whereas the planning board has heard testimony from the applicant's legal representative regarding their proposal, and also reviewed any public comments received regarding the proposed application. Did we get any public comments?
It's not a public hearing.
Yeah. So,
Now, did the town board,
The town board, no.
so I just strike that part?
Yep, you can take that off.
yeah,
And whereas the planning board has deliberated regarding the proposed rezoning application, its benefits and related concerns, and whereas the planning board makes the following findings with regard to the proposed rezoning application. Number one, under compatibility and comprehensive plan and zoning code. Impacts in surrounding area. So this is where we would add those comments. So under compatibility and comprehensive plan and zoning code.
One of the things that we noticed in looking at the comprehensive plan is that this property is within the future land use area identified as neighborhood commercial / dash mixed use. So it would seem to be in concert with the comprehensive plan with regarding the future land use map.
So it's in concert with future land use. What did you say after that?
With the future land use map.
Anybody disagree with that? I don't think so. Okay.
And that, so you can find that attachment in the, after the code references in our letter we had stapled together too.
Right. Any other findings under compatibility and comprehensive plan and zoning code?
I would just specifically like to add that, you know, it would be contiguous to other existing C commercial zoning district.
Got that? If there's no others, how about impacts on surrounding area?
Mr. Chairman, I would offer that we maybe impacts to surrounding area, but maybe add items to specifically be addressed at site plan review, you know, to that header.
Yep.
And then I would list existing impervious coverage. And maybe we even put, you know, somewhat major concern. That's a big one to me, at least if I'm making the motion. Stormwater,
Lighting was another one?
lighting,
Lighting.
I would say green space and or landscape buffer to residential. Those would be my four major. I think that was four.
I'm good.
Any others? I think that covers it. So it's a
Now,
positive referral, correct?
That's what I would offer, yes.
yeah,
Okay, so that, Mr.
Agreed.
All right, so I guess since I read it, I'll put it with my notion, and then Mr. Reed, you second that?
Yes, sir.
Positive referral with the conditions outlined in the resolution. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? None opposed? This is completed. Is that our last matter tonight? Official?
For the special planning board meeting this evening, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for everybody's patience. Let's move right to the workshop.
You have to adjourn the special planning board
Oh.
meeting?
Oh, sure, well, I need your okay. All those in favor of adjourning this meeting?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting's closed. 1 second for a break there, and we'll start the next meeting.
Agenda is case number PB 2023-12-11-1, which is a sketch plan conference. Request by Marathon Engineering, acting as agent for Arundequoit TK Owner LLC for sketch plan conference for the redevelopment of the existing Regal Movie Theater and improvement of traffic circulation on premises 2255 East Ridge Road in the C Business District.
Good evening. My name is John August. I reside at 1151 Clover Street. Great. I'm an owner here representing TK Arundequoit Owners LLC, more commonly known as Culver Ridge Plaza. I'm here tonight with Jeff Saver to my far right, also a partner who's heading up this redevelopment project. Matt Tomlinson is here, a principal at Marathon Engineering, who will be doing the civil engineering for the project. Missing tonight is Jerry Goldman, who will be our attorney through the process. He sends his apologies that he couldn't attend this evening. We're here tonight to discuss the former Regal Theater. This is a 55,000-foot end cap that's somewhat buried back in the southeast corner of the center. It's been vacant since the COVID shutdown, which led to a Regal bankruptcy and the ultimate closure of this theater. We've worked for over 2 years on this redevelopment, and it's been challenging. The first challenging was finding large, over 15,000-foot tenants that could occupy this box the way it was configured, and secondly, finding a strong tenant, the business that we know can make it in this location. The second challenge that we've come across is the cost of redevelopment is huge, due mainly to the multi-level design and the sound dampening built into these theaters. I don't think they could build it any stronger. Every block is filled solid with sand. Every floor is on solid concrete. As Matt's going to describe, we're going to be reusing this building in its entire square footage, splitting into 3 large tenants and 2 small fill-in tenants of just a few thousand feet to make up some of the areas where the footprints overlapped. Our goal is to begin interior demolition sometime this spring and hopefully a building permit by early summer, which would lead to full occupancy and opening in late 2025. We thank you for your time starting the process, and I'll turn this over to Matt Tomlinson to describe the project.
Thanks, John. Matt Tomlinson, Marathon Engineering. So John and Jeff came to us asking for some minimal improvements to help keep the cost down, but also to really improve the circulation and traffic at the plaza. So what we have been working with the architectural team, the curved facade along the front of the building is going to be removed, and that results in some straightening of the drive aisle along the front of the plaza. In addition, at the rear, there's some small demolition of some of the rear stair and egress pathing in order to allow for loading docks and trash compactor that'll be needed as part of the retail operation. And that was necessary to demolish a small portion of the building in order to ensure clearance for trucks from other tenants further west within the plaza to continue circulation there. So from a building standpoint, as John mentioned, other than leveling floors, interior, and providing egress, it's very minimal changes other than the facade, which I dropped off a pretty picture to you guys that we'll talk about in a minute. But from a traffic circulation and calming standpoint, right now, especially with some of the lack of tenants within the plaza, folks are coming in here near what's the CSL Plasma building up at the corner, getting to the corner where the curbing is, and then kind of cutting diagonal to their destinations along the front of the plaza. And so what's being proposed today is a continuation of curbed islands along the face or facade of the main plaza building in order to channelize those folks, and then a raised crosswalk for a pedestrian crossing to simplify getting folks from the main parking field across to the front doors and slowing those vehicles down. And then up along the main east-west midway through the parking lot travel lane that goes past the Bell ATM and some of the other developments up there. Right now, it's just striping. We're proposing to put curbed islands in for the first about 130 feet or 240 feet, so 3 full bays of that parking in order to channelize folks and get them headed in the right direction, and then slowing to make those turns around the curbs. One other traffic calming, which will most likely be phased or put in the future depending on the tenants within across from the GameStop and the AT&T store, would be another raised crosswalk and pedestrian crossing in order to help facilitate vehicles slowing as they approach areas where there's likely to be high volume or higher volume of pedestrians. The graphic that I handed out just a little bit earlier from an architectural standpoint shows the proposed breakup of the facade. Again, we will be removing the curved marquee of where the theater is today and trying to create some variation because it is a long flat facade through there with some different colors and breakup of panels. The tenants that are identified there currently are the ones that I believe are leases signed, and the 2 vacant store spaces are highlighted in the maroon or brown there in between. anything you wanted to add on the architecture?
Those are not done yet on those two spaces.
So the intention for us is to get this board's feedback and then proceed quickly to preliminary and final site plan application. We will be proposing some landscaping within the islands that we're creating. Again, with the existing parking field and most of the plaza being impervious, we're doing what we can to incorporate some green and some landscaping with the addition of traffic calming features. So with that, we'd love to hear the board's feedback or questions that you may have.
Can I just ask you, is the parking that's shown in front of the building the ones that's there now? If I remember to the right of the...
At the east end of it is there today. We are proposing to rebuild a portion of that in order to make the entrances to the new retail spaces be ADA accessible. Right now, the grade drops as you go to the east and then to the south along that facade.
Those are the added spaces, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Are you eliminating any, and this has nothing to do with where you're talking about, but where you're putting in the new drive aisle, are you reducing any spaces up there?
When you say up there, you mean in the mid?
If I go toward Ridge Road where the exit is?
We're eliminating about 6 parking spaces in total through that area.
All right, the only reason I'm asking, I'm bringing this to staff's attention, is that we've given a 3-year commitment to another vendor to use your space.
The Keystone Fireworks for that.
That's considerably further north. That wouldn't.
District use it.
Well, no, I'm talking about this right here.
Yeah.
That guy's right here.
Right. Right. He's
So
north.
I wasn't sure if they were eliminating.
Yeah.
The spots are to the south islands.
I don't see where that would affect them at all.
No, I don't. I'm
Good
just
point
bringing it up.
to bring up. I don't see that would affect them at all. No. My first comment on this is living close by here and being a regular patron of this facility. This will greatly help the safety of this parking lot. As you mentioned, people are constantly racing diagonally through here. No fault of your own at the moment, right? It's an empty tenant and lack of parking in there. But I think this will be a huge benefit to this parking lot. And I think adding those islands with some landscaping will also be a huge benefit. So first blush, I see no issue from my end on this.
Can I ask just one other thing? The supply trucks that are bringing in the goods, they're going to enter off of Culver and go through the back of the plaza.
That's correct.
And believe it or not, I worked at that plaza when Fred Kravitz owned it, more than a couple days ago, and that's what we would do.
What store?
Foreman's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all trucks, all delivery vehicles enter
And then
in the
they'll
west,
just back
go to
into
the
the
east and back to the
space,
south.
and then the idea is for them to continue out and then up to the traffic signaling device.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I think that this is
Great.
a wonderful improvement.
I think it's a very good improvement. So.
Ditto on my part.
Sorry we don't have more input for it. I think we did a pretty
Definitely
good
don't
job.
forget the bike rack.
Yeah, wait till we get to the brightness of the signs and all of
To the
that.
site plan.
This is perfect.
Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Yeah, I don't see anything we could add at this point.
No.
I just have a
Wes
real
might
quick
have
question. Just a real quick question. Any change in site lighting, or is it going to remain the same?
If we need to relocate anything, we'd be matching existing fixtures that are out there today.
They're all LED now, so they're all upgraded, but we may have some in those front islands that we're especially right in front of the buildings. Big ones there right now, but those we may have a few more there. Picture.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for making the improvements.
See you guys.
Next item on the agenda is also a sketch plan conference, case number PB 2023-12-11-2. Request by Marathon Engineering acting as agent for 2080 East Ridge Road LLC for sketch plan conference for the demolition of the existing structure and to construct a new plus or minus 1,300 square foot drive-through Starbucks Cafe on premises 2080 Eastridge Road in a C business district.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I need to recuse myself for this case. I have a conflict with the applicant.
So noted. Now you can go ahead and introduce yourselves.
All right. My name is John Schell from Marathon Engineering. I'm here with Matt Tomlinson from Marathon Engineering. We are the civil engineers for the applicant, and we are going to be discussing with you a proposed Starbucks at 2080 East Ridge Road. The site currently contains a vacant building surrounded by asphalt parking with no other notable site features. And as we've looked at ways to redevelop this site, a primary theme that has reoccurred is the severity of the constraints on it. There are severe lot dimension constraints, location constraints, and also severe zoning constraints. You can see on the plan the small, irregular area that is allowed to be developed under the current zoning code, and we will be going to the zoning board to deal with that after we meet here with you. Looking at those constraints that I just mentioned, we've taken a careful look at the site, and I think we've been able to bring you a design that's going to satisfy the board and redevelop a very prominent corner in the town that surely the town would like revitalized. The Starbucks on the site is going to be 1,300 square feet, which is smaller than a typical Starbucks. This is because it's going to have no indoor seating. Customers are going to access the cafe through a queuing lane, which we are running counterclockwise around the site. We have oriented this lane in order to maximize its length so that we can queue at least 14 cars at a time. Utilities are located in both East Ridge and Culver Road, so there should be no issue bringing those into the site. There are no significant grade changes across the site, so grading will be minor during construction. The site's currently 97% impervious area. We're going to be dropping that down to 72% with the proposed design, which will allow us to incorporate some landscaping into the site perimeter and also the parking area, which we will develop further before we come before you for a public hearing. And with that, I think we'd like to open it up to the board with any comments you might have.
So just so I understand, this is going to just be a drive-through, or can you walk up to it, park and walk up and get something?
There's been some discussion, and we have the applicant here, maybe he could talk to that, about possibly having one or two outdoor tables and some walk-up.
Well, I noticed you had parking. I didn't know if that was just supposed to be for employees or for that purpose, is what I was trying to understand.
Employees, and they may incorporate a pickup window for mobile orders where you don't want to wait in the queue, but you can pull up and just go to the window, but there would not be any inside seating.
So you're indicating here we are closing the Culver Road access to this property. That would be closed off. And then we're allowing left-hand turns out, though?
We would have to work with the county as to whether or not, right now, the access points for both Culver and Ridge are uncontrolled relative to
Very.
left and right turns.
Very difficult spot.
And it's a difficult spot, so we've maximized the separation from the intersection and limited it to one.
Correct.
Typically, Starbucks is going after the right-in, right-out traffic.
Sure.
As you all know, on their locations. But that remains to be seen. Right now, it is proposed as a full access driveway. And that, one of our goals, and we're happy to continue answering the questions, one of our goals is to come out of here with feedback from the planning board, but our first step really after this concept meeting with you folks is to go to the zoning board, because unless and until we can obtain some variances, we really don't have a path forward for developing the site.
There's a driveway just to the west of this also. Have you talked to the county about this?
We have not gone to the county yet, but
I mean, because it's a county road, so they have oversight. And the placement of this driveway next to the next driveway just reminds me of what's going on at the Current Esporta and the Reedman Center, where there's two driveways right on top of each other.
that driveway.
Typically, the county would be more concerned with separation to a major intersection versus to another private drive, especially with somewhat limited traffic flow. So this maximizes the separation as much as we can to the signalized intersection to help avoid conflicts with the turn movements. But we will be required to work with county DOT. I would note, and John can confirm, this is the exact location of the existing driveway, so technically we are not proposing a new curb cut, but of course we'll be working with the county DOT through the planning process.
And the dumpster needs to be against Culver Road? I'm not loving it there, to be honest with you. I'm not loving the snow right against the sidewalk either. I mean, I see that you have additional snow storage beyond the drive-through.
Matt, can I have you speak into the microphone a little bit?
Sure, we can share a little better.
I'm sorry, she's having trouble.
Is there any way that that dumpster can go be next to the building? On the north side of the building?
There's no, on the north side of the building, there is extremely.
An employee entrance, but you could put that anywhere.
Yeah, but getting a truck to it would be extremely difficult.
Well, they're just gonna drive in and go straight across. You've got that whole area that's gonna be, nothing will be there, right? Except for some beautiful landscaping or,
Were you thinking they can back into it, Ellen, is what you're?
no, they can just pull in and then turn the truck left and
Oh,
pull
go
in
back
and
out
then-
the same driveway, oh.
I just don't think it's a good look to have the dumpster, especially as nice as the store is gonna look, to have the dumpster be what everybody's looking at, right? Because it's right
Does it
there.
have to be a dumpster? Or could you go to totes that you empty out the back of the building or anything like that?
We can ask that question, have that answer when we
That
come
would
back
work,
to you
right?
folks.
Yeah, because that's gonna have to be a split block container for the dumpster.
Yeah, understood.
I just-
We would propose it to match the building facade and screen it as much as we can with landscaping. It is a very constrained site, especially with having to get the driveway back to that location, finding a spot proximate to the building, further away from the streetscape for the dumpster would be difficult. But we could take a look and ask whether or not totes are feasible as part
I'm
of their
not loving
operation.
it for one, I'm just telling you. Also, the snow storage on Culver Road, let's find someplace better than that. I mean, that just doesn't make sense.
Well, they have it in the back.
Yeah, but they've also got it two huge areas along Culver Road.
Those are relatively small areas where we would not be pushing a lot of snow there. The snow will go north out of the parking lot, but we need to be able to push the curved driveway around and lay it there.
You're saying that you're gonna store it there.
Just for the drive-through lane specifically, yes.
So can we put that as a condition?
Well, we're just here for concept review here today.
Yeah, so that's why I'm giving you some feedback here. I don't like that.
Understood.
I think
would-
it can be a conflict with also pedestrians.
That the RTS is right there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's about 15 to 18 feet there, and we can provide some additional dimensioning for you folks when we come back here. But we're talking about a site that is very limited in size and opportunity for development here. So I do not anticipate a large amount of snow. This is a small site with small areas. And as a reminder, this is 97% impervious currently with two driveways. So a lot of snow gets piled up there right now, and we'll be helping to alleviate that by the incorporation
Well,
of
no
landscape
snow's
islands.
being moved around there now, at the moment. It's not even occupied, right?
It is not occupied today, no.
And hasn't been for at least 20 minutes.
Hasn't snowed in 20 minutes, I don't think either.
Yeah.
Is that striping you're proposing there, or is that stamped concrete? What are you thinking for that walkway that's going north from East Ridge to the building?
That's proposed to be crosswalk striping currently.
Crosswalk, okay. I think we always like raised, we like
But
something.
we don't know that a customer could even walk into the store, right?
I believe that there's going to be a pickup window for mobile orders where pedestrians could walk up and pick up their order.
Okay.
But they would not be going inside. There'd be just like a a pickup window for the cars, they'll have a pickup window for pedestrians.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you from personal experience what happens at the existing is that everybody's mobile apping the order and walking in and yanking it off the counter and going.
Yeah,
Right.
so in this case, it wouldn't be a go, my understanding, and again, we will confirm this with our operations folks, but it would not be any entry to the building. It would be walk up to a window and say, hey, here's my order, and it would be handed to you.
Okay. And parking here is the requirements for the minimum requirements for the lot, for the square footage? Well, no, it's claiming here you need 13 and you're providing 10.
Correct, and we think we have a strong case for that, being that it's a drive-through restaurant, not a restaurant where customers are going to be parking and walking in and eating.
Okay, my feedback's the dumpster for you.
I think it's a unique use of a difficult parcel, so I got to give you a lot of credit for what you come up with. I would like to see stamped concrete instead of striping,
For the crosswalk specifically.
but I guess it all depends if it's really going to be a walk-up restaurant too, right? So if you're not going to be promoting that, then I guess it doesn't matter. It's just a preference.
Traffic circulation is going to be quite a challenge for anybody doing the walk-up, because to get out of those parking spots and then get into the mix of people leaving the drive-through, we're choking that down to something that's, I get getting as far away as we can from the corner, but you look at something trying to come out, somebody trying to come in, and somebody staging trying to come out after they picked up their order, that's a three-way. That's going to be a real interesting traffic design there that we're going to have to definitely try to mitigate something there.
We will, again, talk with the operations folks and understand, I know they have data for how many. So if it's 5 people walk up or if it's 25, we'll try to get some answers on that.
It's
And could you just point out again, you said you're taking it down to 70%?
72%.
72%. So where are you adding all the landscaping on the Culver Road side, or?
There's landscaping around the perimeters, and also to the north of the building, there's a landscaped area, and there's an island on the east of the parking lot as well.
I think you did a unique design myself.
Yes.
So. Any other comments from board members? John, do you have anything? Okay. Wes, you're welcome to chime in here. You know, we do like your input.
Thanks. I don't think I have anything in addition right now. We did have staff had a pre-application meeting with the applicant's representative. And, you know, I think what I've heard, comments from the planning board tonight were pretty consistent maybe with some of the things that we identified here at the town hall during that staff meeting. So, you know, this is, I think what they've submitted here for a sketch plan is adequate. And, you know, for the next step for them to submit a preliminary plan, we'll provide you a formal comment letter once we get that plan.
Sure.
That's all I've
Any
got.
other questions from the applicant?
Yeah, I just would like to add that as the developer works with tenants on sites like this, they, the proposed tenants, before they get to a point where they're ready to sign on the dotted line, have a lot of input as well as to what they require, what works for their operation. So we're trying to strike a balance between the minimum relief necessary, which is one of the thresholds for getting the variances, as well as what will be acceptable to the planning board, and then on the flip side, what a prospective tenant will flex from a acceptability standpoint. So we think that this plan, dumpster, some of the snow storage things aside, tries to strike that balance. So we look forward to working with the town to try to redevelop.
What would be helpful is when you talk to the, I guess it would be the tenant, right? Do they have other properties that are similar to this that they've had to deal with? And maybe they can come back and say, you know, why they feel certain ways. It would be helpful to know, they want it to be successful, right?
Absolutely.
So it would be good to hear from them why they think this design could be successful for them, because they wouldn't want to invest in something that's not successful.
Absolutely.
So I think it would be very helpful if we got that input. We've had that on other projects.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thinking of the Dunkin' Donuts at the corner,
Yep.
The entrance and exit, having an island, having to only go one way in and one way out, since you only have one entrance there, I think that would be probably helpful. You know, to maybe put an island there more distinct, so you can only enter in one direction and exit in one direction.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit careful though, because like Nate, you brought it up, if the cars are going to be pulling into that parking lot, they got to get out. So
Yeah.
it's going to be
And
tough.
I believe, I could be wrong, because I'm not very familiar with, I don't like Dunkin' Donuts coffee, but I believe that
Neither
has
do.
a driveway on
That's
the
good,
north side
considering
that's
you're here
full
representing
access.
Starbucks. I got it. So,
I believe the Dunkin' Donuts is restricted on the Ridge Road side, but it has a full access point
On the other side,
to
it is.
permit deliveries and that kind of thing. So this is a little bit different of a case because we are restricting. We may not have that flexibility, but we will have to work with the county DOT as far as
Okay.
what they're going to restrict.
Yeah, I can tell you if you can
Good
avoid.
plan though, so far, I like it. That's my only comment.
Avoid the Culver Road entrance and exit, because that's where the mess comes in. I don't care how restricted it is. I can see them turning left, heading east on Ridge Road, turning left into Dunkin' Donut every day of my life if I wanted to. And I see traffic backed up across 2 lanes of southbound traffic. So I'm hoping that that's enough queue space for you guys. What was it, 19 cars?
14
14.
in the drive-through lane before it starts to back up. I think we can get up to 17. Yeah, drive-through only. We can get up to 17 before it actually queues out into the roadway. So it's quite substantial queuing length for
Yeah.
how small the site is.
looking forward to seeing it.
Great.
Any other comments?
None.
Does this board give recommendation, or does the zoning board see minutes of planning boards, just so they're aware of your feedback?
I think they see the minutes. I don't know if they all watch like we all probably do because we're interested in that, but I can't speak for that. But Michelle might know better.
I have draft notes that I can forward them.
Okay.
And I also pulled the history cards that date back to, I believe the oldest is 1967. So I will scan these
Previous approvals. and-
previous approvals on the site.
You were there.
I will scan
You
them
saw
in,
the
get them
board.
over to you guys. Wes is gonna help me with that as well.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
okay? I know I owed that to you guys. Sorry.
See, there's an empty lot just to the north of this lot as well. And, the past Verizon lot, if there's any opportunity there.
You have to state your name and address if you're going to speak.
It was the KFC before it was.
Yes. I don't know if that was been on your radar, Ange, if that's been on your radar at all or not.
You're good. Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. Angelo Ingracia, 693 Summit, Webster, New York. I also own that building. It's under a lease. Verizon still leases it. It's still leased for another 7 years, so I can't do much with it. Just a little bit more of what Matt said. It probably took at least 3 months to come up with this site plan for Starbucks. So, and we considered all of those things, the dumps, everything, and to make this site work. It's definitely a need to assist in the Starbucks down the street, because it's overused and they can't keep up, and they're parked. And when you look at that drive-through, that's the way that was designed. It's actually going into the parking lot and beyond and beyond and beyond. So this is going to cure both of those evils. And then by what Matt said, 14 up to 17 cars, I think we designed it so it could take on that role. There will be no walk-ups. So no walk-ups. It's just drive-through only.
And the other thing I'm going to ask you to show, and you may show it here, is the order box.
Yep, that's shown on the plan.
Okay. Because that will make a difference to your queuing also.
It's just to the west of the cut-through area on the north side of the parking lot.
Like car number 7?
Correct.
Okay.
So, and again, I work with Starbucks pretty extensively, so we've already done one. We're doing one at 58 South Main Street in Fairport. We're also doing 591 Elmwood Avenue in Buffalo, 1020 Lehigh Station Road. There's one missing. Am I missing one? There's one more, isn't there?
These are all drive-through only?
These are all, no, this is the only drive-through only.
Okay.
But they are starting to modify some of their standards, like the one in Fairport that we're doing has no drive-through whatsoever. It's the village wouldn't permit the drive-through, and it's just a walk-up cafe only. So between the drive-up cafe only, the walk-up cafe only, depending on location, they are starting to mix up their brand or what they're able to provide.
And this is for staff. They need a permit for the drive-through, right?
A special use permit?
Yeah.
I would have to double check the code, Alan.
That's my recollection. That's why people don't like to get rid of them once they have them.
I'm looking forward to something on that corner.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this works.
So I've been working on this corner for probably 5 years.
That's great.
Because it's an eyesore and I wanted to fix it, and so I had to find the right tenant, and I found the right tenant, and that's why we are where we are.
Appreciate that.
Oh,
Looking
thanks.
forward to it.
I'm not seeing it in the C Business District. It's a permitted use as a restaurant or eating establishment, takeout food business, or drive-in hamburger, ice cream, food or beverage stands with seating for 30 patrons or less.
I think it's the window, though, the drive-through window that.
We'll get confirmation from the code enforcement officer.
We'll get confirmation from the code enforcement officer.
Excellent. I think that used to be the Aladdin's there. I think that's where he started also.
It was.
Yeah.
It was interesting because there
I
was.
remember Emil's, that's what I remember. I don't know if it.
Oh, that's what it was. Emil's.
Emil's, yeah.
Oh, here's Aladdin's.
Yep.
And there was a Dunkin' Donuts that proposed to go there, but I believe it was denied. Dunkin' Donuts.
So don't fall into the same trap.
Oh, this is great. Looking forward to seeing it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you unrecuse yourself now? Should have talked her into putting that case last.
Okay.
It's gonna be midnight by the time I get out of here.
So the next case, what do we, Michelle, you said the applicant's not here?
Yes, I'm sorry. Next item is case number PB 2023-06-2. Request by D.H. Lewis Engineering, PLLC, acting as agent for 1944 Titus Avenue, LLC, for subdivision approval and steep slope environmental protection overlay district permit to subdivide a 3.763 acre parcel into 3 lots on premises 1944 Titus Avenue in an R1 residential district. Correct. I did receive confirmation from the engineer, Mr. Lewis, that he will not be in attendance this evening. In your packets tonight, you do have the information that was received from Mr. Raymond at Monroe County DOT, which I believe was, from what I gathered, the last items that were needed. But you can correct me if I'm wrong.
And I'm gonna ask somebody that's smarter than me, which could be anybody in this room, but the speed, the 85% of the driveway speed stuff, I don't know enough about that to figure out if he actually answered the question or not. I think it's item 2 on John's list. List of required permits, fees, Nope, that wasn't it, sorry.
Mr. Richards, you talking about the site distance?
Yeah,
Site and intersection distance not shown.
yeah.
So the site distance may have been shown, but the intersection distance was not, according to Mr. Raymond's email, or comment rather, number 2.
So it is number 2 on here, right? Yeah.
So Wes, anything you can add on that? Or?
Because the answer is okay, so I don't know what that actually means to me.
Yeah, so Labella, I do remember commenting on site distance and the ability for people to pull in and out of these driveways, these proposed driveways safely. And I see here from a previous email from John Raymond, Monroe County Department of Transportation, he mentions number 3, required site distance was based on posted speed limit rather than design speed limit. For design speed limit, I have requested if we have 85th percentile data. Fees, and I don't know that I see anything definitive in confirming that John Raymond at Monroe County Department of Transportation is satisfied there. Although he does say in comment number 1 from his email dated December 11th, 2023, all Monroe County DOT comments have been addressed. Ready to sign Mylars when you are. So there must have been some, we can follow up. I guess we'd like to have something in the town's record confirming that the site distance requirements have been met.
So on, I'm not saying that this is correct or not, but on the 11 by 17 site plan, there's a small rectangular chart just to the left of the engineer's stamp. Site distance information, 35 mile an hour posted, 40 mile an hour for 85th percentile at level grade. So there's information there.
Got it.
To Mr. Richards' point, that's not my forte to decipher that information and determine if that is good, bad, or otherwise, quite honestly.
Yeah, I don't know.
He says okay, though.
But Mr. Raymond's response does say it's been addressed, so I guess I would assume, you know what assuming does, but
I was asking a question out
Yeah.
of curiosity
Yeah.
to try to learn something more here.
I can have our roadway engineer confirm that what's identified here on the site plan is adequate, and if he has any concerns, we can follow up with Monroe County.
Any other questions regarding this case?
No. Have to waste time. Yeah, I didn't know what it meant though. Okay.
Okay. So Wes, you'll just take that as a follow-up for the actual meetings? Okay. And he will be here at the next meeting, Michelle, because he wasn't at the last one?
Yes, he will be.
Okay. Next case, please.
Next item. Oh, I'm sorry. Case number PB 2023-09-02 by Bispano and Associates, Inc., acting as agent for Irondequoit Plazas LP for final site plan approval for the relocation and construction of a new 3,200 square foot Citizens Bank retail branch on premises 525 Titus Avenue in a C business district.
Is the applicant here tonight?
He is not. These are the ones, if you recall, that they're out of town.
Oh, okay.
And they were okay with me forwarding them the board's comments.
If it's okay, I'll hold my comments until next week. Is that all right?
Is it anything that's going to change?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
In your packets there is, though, they did send over the
A lot more information. Yeah. Thank you.
sign, and I believe there was some labella.
Yeah, we requested that the applicant submit a utility plan for which they have, and that's been referred to the town DPW, for which they don't have any substantive comments. They mentioned that the sanitary sewer lateral is going to remain private, so they're not so concerned about that. And also Monroe County Water Authority, they'll be looking at the water service connection, so we don't have any further concerns there.
Okay. That cover all of it, Wes, or are you still checking?
I think that's all we have.
So we received a 23-page sign packet.
23-page, I'm sorry, what?
Sign it. This is just signage for the project. That's all this is.
Spencer, I haven't had a chance to look through it.
Yeah. So I mean,
But-
I've looked at it. I haven't completely gone through the whole thing in 23-page worth of detail. But I just wanted to, I guess, point out that this would lead me to believe that as part of their final site plan approval, they're looking for their signage package to be approved as well. So it's a little unfortunate the applicant's not here to walk us through this because it is 23 pages of information. But there is a lot of branding on this.
On all sides, it looks like.
I'm not necessarily saying that I have a problem with it. I'm just saying there's a lot of branding on this.
And just going back at our September meeting, when preliminary site plan approval was granted, one of the conditions was that all signage is not part of this preliminary approval. So I don't, so maybe that was my mistake, that I should have reached back out to them and told them that they have to make a separate application for the signage.
In my mind, it doesn't have to be separate. I mean,
Okay.
they got it to us. It was one of those, it either has to come back as part of their final or they have to come back as a separate. I don't have a problem with it being here.
Okay.
I was just
It's
making
just a lot of
a point that
information
it's a
to
lot of
review.
information. It's unfortunate the applicant's not here to kind of walk us through all this and maybe hear some feedback tonight that we're probably not going to come up with amongst ourselves
Yeah.
Right.
without their guidance. So it,
For the future, if they're out of town, can't we arrange for them to be on a call or for a workshop? We're still allowed to do that, right?
I would have to double check.
Okay.
We haven't done that in a long time, so I would have to double check.
Just a thought for a future one.
I think they've got signage on everything but the stationery.
I think it's a Citizens Bank for sure. I think it's a Citizens Bank. Based on the signage.
I'm sorry, I think what I agree with Mr. Reed, if they reduce the branding, you don't need a branding on every 3 feet. I'm exaggerating.
Well, I can't tell exactly what they're doing here.
yeah, I mean, part of the
Yeah.
problem, and I think maybe this is some feedback for the applicant, is just that there, you know, there was a lot of information here and the board felt remiss that we didn't get explanation, and that might not be a great thing when they come back to us in a week.
It may slow things down.
Because there is an awful lot. I remember we talked about this during preliminary as well, which is, I think, is one of the reasons why we had them specifically talk about signage. I remember them saying that this was the new branding and that that's what they're doing and that they needed signage because it was part of the branding. I get it, but there is an awful lot of branding on this. And to have them not be here to help us understand this is going to make it much harder next week when they try to explain it to us and then we want to see modifications and they really don't have time to do that. So I just don't want the applicant to get here and then all of a sudden think, well, we gave you what you wanted and now we can't get approval. And it's like, well, we didn't really understand and have a chance to have someone explain it to us or give you feedback that you could then potentially modify for the next meeting. And I hope I'm not stepping on your toes, Mr. Chairman, but that's
No,
my
I-
feeling on it.
I think we just need clarity if you would say, yeah, it looks like signage is going to be part of it, but it wasn't intended, so.
Right.
It is a lot of information. I have to go through it myself.
Yeah, and
I
they've got
I think it is a Citizen Bank though, for sure.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
okay, so-
I mean, they've got directional signage and some stuff in here that I don't think we care about at all. And they got stop signs showing, which we don't normally approve any of that stuff, but
Well, the one-way signs are gonna have to do
Yes,
something
we-
with because.
we did have conversation about that
Demanded
stuff.
that they do them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might be helpful, Madam Secretary, if they could possibly also give us, we've got so many plans on this project, now we've got this updated. If they could possibly give us 11 by 17 sets of whatever the final site plan is that they also want us to approve. I think it was 2 meetings ago that maybe we got our last site plans from them.
I thought the last meeting we got one.
Maybe we did last
Yeah,
meeting.
we did. Yeah,
But-
the most recent ones were the last meeting.
Okay.
I don't think you were out, right?
I wasn't here at workshop, which might be the problem.
Yeah.
I was at the meeting, but I wasn't here for workshop.
Yeah, at the workshop, I think.
So
we
I may have not.
I could still ask him to provide scaled-back site plan.
Yeah, if we're trying to get to a final approval, it would be nice to have one final set that we know it's exactly what they're,
Yeah, I still have all of them. I've been carrying them around.
are those really big ones?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you want them 11 by 17?
I prefer them personally, but I don't mean to dictate what the entire board has to live with.
Is that everything on that one? Okay, next case is case number PB 2023-12-1, request by MRB Group acting as agent for St. Catherine to Wequatha. I can never say that correctly, I apologize. Tekakwitha, for revised site plan approval to amend a previously approved site plan regarding the demolition of a 1 1/2 story building to be used for parking on premises 2732 Culver Road in an R5 residential district.
Good evening, everybody. Am I on? Yes. All right. Back there, you can hear it. Okay. My name is Paul Schreiner from MRB Group, Culver Road here in Rochester. I'm here tonight with Father Lance Gagno, the pastor of St. Catherine, and which is part of St. Cecilia. They're connected. So, for you tonight, discussion of the project that I'm sure you haven't got a package for, is the project's located at the St. Cecilia Church site at 2732 Culver Road. The zoning is residential R5 district. This is a permitted use. It's the size of the property is 2.35 acres. As you all know, we were here in probably mid-July, when we came to you before for the Episcopal Senior Apartments, which are currently under construction. There's been some recent activity on the site. As you all know probably by now, the A-frame rectory building has been removed. It had become a serious problem with the building department. Had to have asbestos abatement done to it. The fire department used it for some training, and it all came down. So where are we going from here? With our proposed plans, what we're proposing is the construction of an additional 20-plus minus parking spaces, parking facility on the St. Cecilia site in the area of where the A-frame rectory building was. It'll connect the church main parking lot in the front along Culver Road to the Episcopal site with a travel lane, and it will remove one curb cut onto Culver Road that was just south of the A-frame building. The improvements that we're proposing is an asphalt paved lot connecting to the existing pavement that's already there. Removal of the existing asphalt along, a little small strip of asphalt along Culver Road with the curb cut. We're gonna create a 2 to 3 foot high earth berm along Culver Road and provide some tree planting along Culver Road. And the balance of that disturbed area, we would restore with to lawn for simplified maintenance. That's the long and the short of it. And project. Have any major concerns with our proposal?
How many
If I
park,
can't answer any of your questions, Father Gagnon can.
and how many parking spots? You said 20, I thought.
20.
Okay, so I'm counting more than 20 in the
Yeah,
proposal.
there's an excess of almost 40 parking spots there.
Some of those parking, I did that, I went through that tonight before I came, but with the parking that was there when we did the Episcopal project up Culver Road, there's some parking there that was, I'm saying it's 20 additional to even that. Okay? So 40, 20 or so new and 20 or so were already there. That makes sense to you?
Saying 20 new spaces.
20 additional spaces to what was.
It would have been nice to have seen which ones were the new ones, which ones were the existing.
There's a dotted line, I don't know, just, if you're looking at the plan left of the, let me see.
Mr. Chairman, do you have the 11 by 17? The 11 by 17 is what we approved, and if you look at where the A-frame is, you can see what we approved previously.
Well, except I'm going to stop right
what's
here
there now.
because we're dealing with a different applicant today, right?
Yes. Then,
This is not Episcopal
No.
coming to us.
no,
So this is not what we approved because we didn't approve anything on this site.
No. Right. All I was stating was I was explaining the applicant's comment.
Yeah.
This shows, when he's saying there's 20 additional, this shows you what was there on the previous plan versus what he's asking for. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, but we had nothing to do with that part of it because we were told it wasn't going to change when we were even back in March,
Sure.
right?
Right.
I do have a little concern because LaBella brought this up as a concern. They felt that we went a little close to the creek. And this is going further than what we went with the existing parking. And those were Kate's comments, is my recollection of that.
But this is pre-existing, though.
I
Right?
understand that, but they're asking for a site plan on the whole thing now.
on the church parcel.
You're talking about to
the south.
To the south? Yeah.
So that's going to be my question to you guys, Wes, is for somebody to take a look at this and see why Kate made that suggestion.
Yeah, we've got a draft letter assembled. We haven't finalized it yet, but we do have a draft comment letter on this application.
Okay.
So, and I believe I see here what you're pointing out is that it appears there's some parking surface that is maybe closer to, which direction is north? I guess the south.
Right.
Right.
Towards the creek than maybe what was.
We're not adding, we're not adding, excuse me, any more parking or hard surfaces farther than what's there now.
I understand that, but you're still coming to us for site plan
Yes.
review. So we're looking at the entirety, not just
Yeah.
what you want to do new.
Right, there was
No, I agree.
previous comment and concern about the south edge of parking, not for your application, for the previous application,
Okay.
right? And I think Mr. Richards' point is, this would be a very good time to, at a minimum, align it with what we approved on the Episcopal
Right.
Living site, which would maybe eliminate 2 of your parking spots and move your southern edge of parking to align with the existing, or what will be the existing approved
Right.
Episcopal
Oh,
Living
I
line.
see what you mean. You just move them all up until
Move
they have
them over
one
so
line.
that, correct. I
Right.
think that
There was some reason, environmental reason why she felt
Yeah,
we
we
went
were very
too far.
close to that,
We
yeah.
were very close.
Let us take another look at that, and they may actually, I'm just kind of flipping through the pages here, very cursory look off the cuff here, but it looks like they may be reducing the amount of pavement in that area. But let me confirm that.
Yeah, that would, yeah, if you shifted that north, we'd lose another three spots probably. Move that parking up.
Well, there's no parking requirement here, so we're just giving you parking, right?
That's what we're looking for, is
Yeah.
additional parking,
Yeah.
as much as we can.
Is the parking mostly going to be for the church activities or is it going to be cross-access or is it?
Yeah, it would be closest to our parish center, the Newcomb Center. And that's where our elderly they always try to get as close as they can to the Newcomb Center. So that proposed parking would be ideal for them so that they wouldn't have to walk from too much of a distance.
And you'd actually be removing some of the parking where it comes out into your parking lot, into the church parking lot? People park there now.
I think there may be some old striping that's there, I can't even tell. And, but
I just
think
know
there is
from
some people
Sunday service,
park there.
everybody parks there,
Yeah.
double parked, yeah.
Yeah, right.
They shouldn't.
Yeah, right now it's it's very tight with the construction and everything else.
So this would improve that, is what you're pushing for. So, I mean, everybody parks like 2 lanes there and pulls right out into the street. So this would help that, actually, quite a bit.
So you're taking out a couple trees, do you know why?
Which trees are those?
The trees that are marked trees to be removed on C 1.0.
Let me take it. I know we had to take out the one garbage out.
I don't know what they are, that's why I'm asking. I
Because
don't,
of the parking,
there could be a very good
two
reason,
there.
I don't care.
that,
Which one?
we may have removed, and we shouldn't have. There's 2 maples, I believe, on the,
Is that coming down?
it's closest to the church. These 2, I think the 2 can be saved, to be honest with you. Yes, those 2 should keep.
You see what I'm just
Yeah,
asking
just,
if there was a reason for
Right
it.
by the A-frame there, on the Culver Road side, it says to be removed. Yeah, those should stay. We can keep those.
Okay. So we probably will want to reflect that when you come back to us.
Pardon me?
You'll probably want to reflect that when you come back to us.
Certainly.
So I appreciate, while we're talking landscaping, I looked at quickly the landscaping plan and the small berm and landscaping along Culver. I would like to just voice some disappointment and frustration. When this was before us, previously, there was very specific conversation about this A-frame, what was going to happen with it. I understand that there was someone living in it at the time. But there was a lot of disappointment or discussion around how the Episcopal Living building faced or didn't really front onto Culver. And I believe, and we'd have to go back to see if my memory is as good as I think it is, but I believe that there was even comment about how we were really hoping that this wouldn't get demolished and that a parking lot would go in. So I understand it's 2 different applicants, it's 2 different properties. I'm just rehashing the fact that I think there was a bit of a missed opportunity, and I understand different properties. I get what happened, but it's a little frustrating to me that we were talking quite a bit about wanting there to be more of a public face on that Episcopal Living building, and essentially we're kind of pushed in a direction that we couldn't get that because it didn't front and there was a building and et cetera, and now here we are exactly where we kind of didn't want to be. So, I think
We did push them to make some changes.
Yeah, but it wasn't, I mean, the whole
extent,
point
but
was that we really would have liked.
It wasn't on the west side of that property.
We don't like the parking right along the road. We don't like those types of things, and that's exactly what we're ending up with. I do acknowledge the history of separate properties. I understand. I do think the landscaping, at least from a quick review, looks pretty decent along there. I would be remiss if I didn't at least make the statement that we're back to where I think we were trying not to be. But I'm not saying that reflects a negative vote or anything on my part. I'm just making a statement that I feel I need to make for the record, so.
Besides that, I think the parking that Alan brought up. It should be looked at. Anything else from Labella that you were concerned about? Entrance, exit, or anything?
Curb cuts.
Do we need to see a cross allotment use? Do we have to ask for that, or?
Oh, cross-access easement?
Yeah.
We can look into that, whether or not we'd want to see one.
I think we have that already.
Maybe, could be.
Yes.
So
think
would
we
it extend to
required
this, even
that.
though this didn't exist before?
Well, Episcopal still had the ability previously to go through and get to the old curb cut that you're gonna remove.
Correct.
And I'm pretty sure that we had that. I mean, that's a good thing to dot our i's on. I'm pretty sure we had that on the last approval.
I'm just wondering about the parking, though.
I don't think there was any specific path. It was just this property gives permission to this property.
I think it was like
Good, just
a
to make
complete,
sure it's clarified,
Yeah,
so that we don't
yeah.
have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still not gaining any green space compared to what was there, because they've asphalted over for parking lots and put in buildings. So the net loss of green space is still a loss on the entire project.
Correct. That's why we try to treat the two.
That's why if you can move that away from the creek a little bit more, I think you're going to be a lot more helpful to us.
Believe it or not, I think that we're pretty close to the way it is right now with the removal of the A-frame and the parking around the A-frame. There's a lot of asphalt, hard surface that was this
Yeah, but
removed, but to put back.
But this entire parking lot on the south side is brand new. That was a grass field.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
been over there.
that's
Yeah.
why we mitigated it with the bioretention area and the drainage there.
So for MRB's benefit, what our draft letter, we've also asked that on the demolition plan that you depict the location of the laterals for gas, gas service, the water service, and maybe sanitary, and identify the abandonment, how those will be abandoned. We can.
Well, when they demolished the building, they had to be rerouted.
Okay.
And there was a new gas service installed to the church
Okay.
because in that rectory building was the main regulator for the entire church.
Okay.
So that was a big deal.
All right. Is that reflected on, it may not be reflected on the approved site plan, or is there any record of that anywhere? Is it for an as-built, or can you put that, can you show us
You can put that together
Okay.
in a pretty good manner.
All right.
We can show it where it was and where it was kept. I'm not sure where, like, the water authority would cut off the water service. The sanitary lateral goes to a manhole in Culver Road, which was cut off, or which we're gonna use for the apartment complex. They have a small lift station. That's what they're using. For water, we probably had a curb stop that we could show that was disconnected by the water authority, and we could probably get through Pike Construction and get the new location of that gas service.
Can we also see a lighting plan?
At this time, we're not proposing any new lights in this parking lot.
Is there something that shows me existing?
There is one light pole, I believe, near the gathering space that lights that parking lot there, but there's no proposed parking or proposed lighting in the new parking facility right now, just because of the cost.
is that existing light on the, I'm drawing, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I don't.
The light that's,
There's a pole, right?
there's a pole on the, I would say the
North side where the rectory used to be.
is it shown? It may not be on here.
Okay. Yeah, can we see what you guys are proposing for that? I don't care if you're leaving it the same. I just want to know what it's going to be.
Okay.
All right? And especially the head of the fixture.
It's an existing light that's there, and
That's-
I can.
That's great. So you're
Look
gonna
and see what it is.
be able to tell me easily and show it. Okay.
So staff question, is this a type 2? Or is there a seeker involved? Type 2.
It's gonna be, it may potentially be unlisted. We can look at that.
Okay. So I don't see any application for that.
See any AF?
No.
That's why I asked. You didn't fill out for the, oh, you did?
Yeah, we submitted a short form EAF.
It's probably gonna be an unlisted action.
I don't, any other questions? No more? Do you have any questions for us?
And if we have it, Michelle will send it to you. And if I don't know why you would not tell me to do that.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I think it may be an email that I sent you. Maybe follow it up after that. Have it right here.
Do you know when they're gonna be done with the construction of the center?
Of the apartment?
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna be paving next summer. So I would say early 25 occupancy.
Well, they got a sign that says the fall of '24,
Oh, okay,
so they're pushing along pretty fast rate.
And what's your schedule if you get approval?
We'd like to, it makes sense to us to have the site contractor doing the work there, do the work here. That's how we kind of put it all together. So when we get done, the apartments are done, this parking lot's done, everything's good.
Great.
We're done with construction on that corner.
Sounds good. No other questions? I think we're good unless you have more for us. So,
Is there anything else that,
don't think of it done by next week. I think we're good. Thank you.
all set, thank you.
Thank you for your patience waiting tonight.
You would have asked me, yeah, I know you would have. I know, and I recall that.